Hey, what is up? And thank you for listening to Operation Agency Freedom, where we are bringing you top secret advice from the world's most badass digital agency owners. And today, CFOs and COOs, these amazing men and women are sharing their stories of how they have built 6, 7, and 8-figure digital agencies and how you can too. My name, of course, is Chris Martinez. I am the CEO of Dude, where we help digital agencies by giving them the people, the processes, and the education so that they can take on more projects and scale profitably. Profitably is the key word. It's the perfect word for today's episode with Daniel Flores, who is the CFO and CEO at Billie Jean is Marketing. And really quickly, if you're looking for something to read, I encourage you to pick up a copy of my new book, Never Wear Pants Again. I'll actually give you a free copy. Just go to neverwearpantsagain.com and I'll give you a free PDF copy. So back to Daniel. Literally, I've been hunting this dude down for like a year. And, obviously Billie Jean is Marketing is a pretty successful organization. They mainly specialize in coaching and mentoring for lead generation. They have a lot of agency clients, but they also started out as a traditional agency doing fulfillment services. And, I'm not like Billie Jean is an individual, great guy, huge heart, really, really nice guy. Like I've learned a lot from them in terms of the lead generation side, but I'm not, Billie Jean's the greatest thing on earth. I just think he's a really, really cool dude. The reason why I'm so excited about having Daniel on the call is because he's the money guy. And that's what I wanted to hear is like, how is he actually managing the financials? So like what you see from Billy is the Lamborghinis and the G-Wagon and the fancy house and da-da-da-da-da. I want to see what's going on with the numbers and how are they actually staying profitable? Because I had a feeling that they were doing very, very well financially. It wasn't smoke and mirrors like you see with a lot of other gurus, so to speak. And so finally got Daniel on the show, and man, he is a very, very smart guy. So if you want to learn how to run your agency and some of the metrics that you should be tracking, the financial metrics that you should be tracking, please pay close attention to this episode. You will not hear an inside story about the numbers like you will on this episode. So grab a pen and a piece of paper, take lots of notes. Daniel's actually really, really nice. He also gives his email at the end. So if you have specific questions for him, you can reach out to him and hopefully can get you the information that you're looking for. But again, very, very excited about my interview with Daniel Flores, who is the CFO and COO at Billie Jean is Marketing. Enjoy the show. We'll see you later. All right. Hey, what's up, Daniel? How's it going, man?
What's going on, Chris? How you doing, man?
I am very excited to have you. As we were joking about before the show, this has been like a year in the works. I know you're an insanely busy guy, and there's so many things going on at Billie Jean is Marketing. So no worries. Just happy.
I appreciate you having me on here. Yeah, it's just been, I'm glad we're finally able to do this and connect. I know it's been a minute on us trying to get this together, but I appreciate you with the patience and getting me on here.
Well, what that did is it gave me a lot of time to do research on you. So I have a lot of questions that I'm going to ask.
But baby, let's go.
All right. Well, let's get into the whole reason we're here. And one of the reasons I'm so excited is because I don't think that we've ever had a CFO on the show. I think we have had a COO. I can't remember. Oh, yeah. It was Jim Petticone, who works over at Design Pickle. He's the COO for Design Pickle. But I've never had a CFO on the show. And I am not a finance person by any stretch of the imagination. My fiance handles all of our finances. And when we brought her in, oh my God, night and day. Like the company is running so much better than before. Mm-hmm. And so just really quickly, like I saw about your history. I mean, like you went to USD, it looks like you have a master's in accounting as well. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You worked for Ernst & Young, like one of the big four, and then you were an analyst. And like, so you have the background. Your resume speaks for itself ultimately.
Appreciate
Why
that.
did you decide to go start working for Billie Jean is Marketing?
I mean, so my background, right? So you kind of spit out the background on it, but basically I've known Billy my whole entire life. I've known him since we were kids. So we went to grade school, high school, college together, right? So I was blessed enough to see him through everything, right? Through the come up. And it's coming up 4 years now since I've been with the company. And I was working for a consulting company prior to jumping on board here, and I was able to see a wide array of companies, right, from small startups to multi-billion-dollar companies, public and private. And I, talked with Billy, had a conversation, helped him out a little bit on the side. And then, next thing you know, we're having a conversation about the future and where it's going with his company. And I decided to make the jump. So it's been great. I love it. I love where we're going. I love the mission. I love how many people we impact and help on a daily basis. And this is it's been great to work with your best friend, right? That's another great thing, right? I mean, we have a great friendship outside of work, and then inside of work, it's we're still great friends, and it's been awesome the past few years.
That's fantastic. So let's go back to 2017. I think it was when you started there with Billy Gina's marketing. What was going on in the company where Billy recognized, or actually, was there a CFO prior to you?
No, there was no CFO prior to me. I think the thing that really flipped for him, to realize hey, I need somebody to help out on this side of the business was, he was seeing a lot of traction, right? They were doing well. When I came on board, and I think
can you tell us approximately revenue wise where they were at?
Yeah. So when I came on board 2017, I think we were at, what was it? Just over 3 million, 3.7 in revenue. And so we've exponentially grown every single year, right? So last year we hit a little over 11 million, right? So in the past 4 years, we've grown exponentially every single year. And I think it was just, he's seeing hey, we're seeing traction. Let's get organized in the back office area and make sure that, because all entrepreneurs, they're very offensive driven, right? And I am very defensive driven. I'm hey, let's protect the money. Let's keep this structured and organized versus, all right, let's spend it on this. Let's spend it on that. That's not where my mind goes whatsoever. My mind goes hey, how do we protect as much and stay profitable the whole entire time?
Yeah, no, this is the same conversation that I have with my fiance. So let's talk about, because this is the big question that I have is 2017, when you came in, what was the net income looking like?
Net income.
You can just give us a ballpark percentage.
Yeah, I want to say, I'd have to go back and dive in on what we were at back then, but we were still healthy. It was over 20% probably around there.
That's still good.
Still good. And we've increased every single year, right? So it's been great. I think a lot of the stuff that I brought on to the table was, that structure and process, building out budgets, building out your whole GL to know where everything is coded, where everything is classified, all that type of stuff. Right. So,
yeah. So those were some of the first tasks that you had when you came on board, was kind of putting in those basic standard accounting practices.
Yeah. So I put in a lot of standard accounting practices, revamping the whole general ledger, the whole P&L, the whole balance sheet, making sure everything was coded properly and accounted for, and we're tracking that. And then the next big thing was building out a budget. You really can't measure your success unless you have something to compare it to. And so that was what we did. We built out a budget. We built it out for 2 years in advance and said, hey, these are the goals. These are where we're going to want to go from a revenue perspective, but this is also where we want to stay from a cost. Yeah. And so we kind of built that in. And we use that on a monthly basis. We compare it to it, budget versus actual, and see hey, this is where we could improve. This is where we excelled. And then we take it from there every single month.
Yeah. So I do a pro forma. I learned about the pro forma actually from Russ Perry at Design Pickle. So we do a pro forma, and then we do, looking backwards, we do an actual versus plan. And then I can pinpoint what went wrong or my fiance can do it. Is that something similar? Or do you guys have a different type of practice that you use?
Yeah, so very similar, very, very similar. So we build out like this whole budget for, say it's 2 years in advance. This is where our projections are from a revenue. This is projection from headcount. This is where our runway is on the expenses, et cetera, right? So everything's super granular from, hey, here's what we're paying for insurance. Here's what we're paying for dues and subscriptions. Here's what we're paying for employee, everything. Right. Yep. So I like it super granular to the T. Like, this is what we're expecting from a cost perspective. So we can look at the month out and be like, hey, how much are we expecting in expenses for this month? What day are we expecting that to come in? So we know when there's, a large amount that hits the bank account or hits our credit card, like that was expected. We knew that was and we account for that on a promotional side, on a revenue side of things.
Gotcha. So what are some of the KPIs that you're specifically measured by, like that you're responsible for and that you got to make sure that are in the right spot?
Yeah, I mean, definitely on like our accounting side of things, right? So making sure that is in line, clean, and sent to bill. Like, so another thing I was going to talk about is or mention like that we created is our daily executive summary, right? So we have that on a daily basis and it's not just, the finance numbers, but it's company wide. It's every single department, kind of like these KPIs, if you will, on every single department, knowing exactly what happened on that day and sending that to, I accumulate that from the team and then I send that off to Billy every single day. And it's really knowing where the numbers are, right?
Yeah.
Knowing here's what our revenue was, here's what our expenses was, here's what the bottom line is. It's stuff on customer service and really understanding like what's going on over there, whether that's response time, it's things on marketing, like how's our email list going, how many members did we get to our in our community, stuff on the sales side of things, right? What was our closing rate? What was our talk time looking like? How much revenue did it get per sales rep? All that good stuff, right? So it's diving deep on all of those metrics on a daily basis to really understand like where we're going and how we're going to get there.
Is there a software that you use to accumulate all the different data from different departments? Because that can be a challenge in itself.
Yeah. So yes and no. Each department has kind of like their own softwares, right, that they're using that they'll pull certain data from. But I built out a lot of things in Google Sheets.
Okay.
And so it's really formulated. It's pretty badass. Like, you'll enter it in one sheet, it'll automatically get pulled to another sheet. And I put in a lot of formulas in there to pull it into direct cells, and then it makes it pretty on like the summary sheet, right? So built that out so that it's nice and easy and digestible for Billy ultimately at the end of the day.
So that was going to be actually my next question. Is Billy looking at those numbers every single day?
Yeah, he likes to have a real good pulse on where the company is on a daily basis. So he'll dive in and see, all right, look, we had an okay day today, or hey, we had a fantastic day today. And he wants to know exactly where we're at every single day, so that he can, he's a huge driving force on the revenue side of things, right? He's always pushing the needle. He's coming up with creative ideas for the company to drive with, right? So that's he likes to see that. And I'm in the trenches of it, so I see it every single day, and obviously communicate anything with him on anything that is changing or needs a directive of.
And are you guys doing any fulfillment services, or is it mainly just the coaching?
Yeah, it's mainly it's hybrid, right? So it's not really like we're not doing it for anybody, but it's a lot of coaching and hand holding, especially on like our Genius Advantage Plus, where there's the Zoom sessions in teaching our customers and all that good stuff. And then we have our Genius Advantage, our live calls with Billy every single week. And we just launched this certification program that we're really, really excited about. So And we just pushed that out on Wednesday. So we're seeing some good traction with that. And I think it's going to be a game changer for us.
So what are some things that go into your cost of goods sold? Because like on the production side, at least what we teach is that anybody who's working on production labor needs to track their hours, because then we can tie that time back to a specific project. How are you guys doing it? Because if it's mainly coaching, I mean, there is people speaking with clients. So do you have them track time, or like what are the factors?
Yeah, not necessarily. Honestly, that gets baked into our P&L 100%, but it's not really a cog for us.
Okay.
So like our cost of goods, right? I mean, so to speak, I mean, you have your advertising spend that is, it's a direct correlation to what we're putting out. And then, you have your merchant fees associated to that as well, right? But outside of those, there's not really like, it's not like, you have your work in process, you have your, you know what I mean? Like all that type of stuff that to get nitty gritty on like, inventory accounting and all that stuff. That's not really like, the name of the game in the agency world. So.
Gotcha. And so like, I have kind of like a funny scenario question that I don't know if it comes up. I'm thinking that it comes up, but what do you do when Billy comes up with a crazy idea and he wants to spend a bunch of money and you have to tell him no?
I mean, ultimately it's Billy's company, so he can do whatever he wants, right? I am just kind of like the little voice of reason in the background that says, hey, no, man, like, let's think about that. And it's kind of funny. Everybody kind of cracks jokes on it because Billy will say something like, hey, we want to do this and it's going to cost X amount of dollars. And everybody's like looking at me. Hey, did Daniel know that? Because I know he's going to have a heart attack, which my heart drops a little bit every single time.
Well, that's your job.
We say, yeah, every single time we say, hey, we're gonna spend X amount of dollars, right? I'm like, but yeah.
Well, like for example, I think you guys just did another billboard. I hadn't seen it, but is it in? Where's it at? Did you guys?
We had it for was it like 8 weeks, approximately something like that, maybe 6 weeks. It was down there in the La Jolla area, down in San Diego, and honestly, like stuff like that, like. Billy tells me about it, like, hey, we're going to do this. And I 1000% trust in Billy's vision and understand like where he's going. And we always ROI our stuff, right? We always ROI our ads. Anything we end up purchasing a lot of dollars towards, we ROI it every single time. There hasn't been one thing where we've spent and it's just been a loss, a total loss, right? I mean, we recoup what we end up spending, right? So like even that billboard, right? It's brand positioning. We get a bunch of people that will drive by and inquire about it. And then it's also putting it in ads. It's just used as a great prop. We put it in a couple ads and that's the name of the game.
So was that particular advertising investment, was that in the budget, or was that something like outside the budget that he had the idea for?
Yeah, that's definitely not that's something that was extraordinary that like, we kind of cater to the market and Billy comes up with ideas and then we run with it and we make the best of it. We make it happen. So that's kind of like how we run the company is, if something new is coming out, we're going to jump on it and we're going to do it to the best of our abilities. And something like that, whether that's a billboard or it's, investing in our studio, right? That was a huge undertaking that we went through and a huge amount to swallow to get done, but it's paid dividends. It's great, especially in, the world we're in right now where we're super virtual. We're set up great.
Awesome. Now I have a question about churn. So I can't remember if most of your clients are on monthly recurring billing or if it's a one-time fee, but how do you guys, well, first of all, what is an acceptable churn rate for you guys, client churn, and how do you guys track and measure churn?
We have softwares for that. We use a company called Bear Metrics that will, that tracks all of like our recurring revenue. And most of our stuff is on recurring. Our higher ticket's just a longer recurring process. But our Genius Advantage program, that's on monthly. And so we're still seeing that it's any people are sticking around anywhere between I would say 4 to 6 months
Okay.
on average.
For the
So
lower tier program.
yeah, for like the
Yeah,
lower tier
that makes
monthly
sense.
recurring revenue, so to speak. And so that's kind of what we're seeing on average, which is interesting enough, like in line with like everyone else.
Yeah.
But we always shoot for higher than that, and having people stick around. And once they really have an experience with us, we're seeing a lot longer stick rate, which is always good.
Are there any KPIs that you guys measure that have an impact, a positive impact on churn? So like for us, for example, we basically have analyzed our happiest clients, and we know that if we're getting a certain amount of projects done per month, and if we're getting those projects done using a certain amount of hours, that typically leads to a very happy client, and that will dramatically reduce our churn rate. Do you guys have any specific things that that lead to happy clients that you can track?
Yeah, I mean, our biggest thing is attendance on our calls. If you've ever attended a Genius Advantage live call on Tuesdays, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot, actionable items that are like taken away every single time. Implement this, it's going to improve your business.
Yeah.
And Billy goes to the steps, A through Z on how to do it and how to attack it. And we've got our whole production team and some people on our marketing team. They're walking the individuals through the steps. And so I really think that when people attend these calls and they actually do what is taught, they're going to stick around and they're going to see results, and they're going to be with us for life. They're going to rock with us. So that's the biggest thing that we see is, if you're attending these calls, you're gonna fuck with us.
That makes sense, dude. Are there any other red flags that you guys are monitoring? Just like things that you're like, this is a potential time bomb that we have to jump on right now.
In what sense? So give me a little more clarity on that one, like time bomb.
Well, okay, so let's just look at, trends, for example. So if your revenue per employee is trending in the wrong direction, or if your cost of goods, for example, skews dramatically out of line one month over a next, or churn, churn is obviously one that's really important. Are there any of those things that you monitor, and if it pops up, you're like, we got to get on this shit right now?
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, it's like what I was just saying, like it's people attending our calls, right? So making sure we can gauge that on a daily or on a weekly basis, right? If the attendance is high, we know we're gonna continue to have members happy and engaged and rocking with us. So that's a big thing. Another thing is looking on the ad side of things, right? I mean, it's looking at our cost per acquisition. If that's trending really high, that's a huge red flag for us, right? So we're trying to make sure that we're always profitable on our ads, and that's how we continue to win. So those are like a couple of the big things like we really look at. Obviously, the marketing team dives in on those analytics every single day and does well with it.
Awesome. All right, final question, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for Billy Genius Marketing? Because he deleted his entire Instagram, other than the one image of, I think he put a date up there for May or something. So what the hell are you guys working on?
Man, I can't give away too much. Billy's working on some really badass content that's going to drop in May. And number one, like two things. It's this whole content stream that our production team, our video team, and Billy are working really hard on. It's gonna be badass. I can't wait for you to see it. That's the first thing, and it's gonna be a lot different than what our normal ads look like, and it's gonna be polarizing. It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking. Is it
still related to helping marketing agencies learn how to generate more?
Yeah, our thing is always going to be about helping community and getting them results,
leads
right?
and sales.
Results driven, exactly. That's our mission. That's our goal, right? That's on the horizon, and this certification program that we just launched is the other big thing that is going to be a game changer. We're going to take people through a 4-month process and really like certify them as an advertising genius. And just dive in deep with them and make sure that they learn our process and are successful at the end of the road.
Perfect, man. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Dude, I'm like nerding out over everything that you've said here, and our listeners, hopefully, like, guys, if this doesn't resonate with you, if everything that Daniel's talked about doesn't resonate with you, you need to pick up a book and figure out what the hell he's actually talking about, because these are the non-sexy things that will make or break your agency. At the end of the day, like, if you've been doing this a while, sales is actually easy. Growing your profitability is insanely difficult. So, like, if you have somebody like Daniel on your team, or you can go out and find somebody similar to Daniel, I highly recommend that you do it. Like, he's a super, super smart guy. I'm a big believer in the value of having intelligent people on your team. Yeah, Daniel, thanks so much for being here. What's the best way for somebody to reach out to you, like if they had a question or something?
Yeah, I mean, they can email like our general inbox, and the team will filter that over to me. So if they email info@askbillygene.com, they can shoot right over to me, and I'll be in contact with them. But again, thank you, Chris, for having me on. I really, really appreciate you, and congrats on all of your success. And
I do have one more question, actually. Who would be the perfect person to email you?
Who would be the perfect person to email me? Mm-hmm. Anybody we can help. Honestly, like that's it. I mean, I love helping people. I love, that's what we do here. Is we help cool. people, and that's our goal.
Awesome. I love it, man. Well, thank you for being on the show. To all of our listeners, thank you all for tuning in today, and make sure that you return next Thursday and every Thursday for the next episode of Operation Agency Freedom. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you could share it with your friends, family, and basically anyone who will find the same value in this episode that you did. And to get the latest from me, then let's definitely connect on social media. You can go to Facebook, facebook.com/Dude Agency, or Instagram @dudeagency.io, or you can check us out on YouTube on our YouTube channel. And then, of course, you can always visit our website at dudeagency.io, where you can see all of our other episodes of Operation Agency Freedom. You can also register for any live trainings that we have going on how to run a highly profitable agency. And of course, you can see how we help digital agencies with the people, the processes, and the education so that they can take on more projects and scale profitably. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.